Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. I'm meteorologist Mr. G back with you once again. I hope you guys had a great week this week. It's almost a weekend. It's your Friday night. I hope you guys have a safe evening out there in any of your weekend activities, and I hope everything goes great for you. But let's talk about that weather forecast. But first, let's deal with our city of the day. And Houston, Texas is the city of the day. We are looking at the uptown cam out there. There is I-10, the Katy Freeway up there moving across Houston, Texas tonight. So a lot of traffic still at this late hour. It's about 9:30. So it's going to be a late video for you guys tonight. But you do have the chance for those showers and thunderstorms out there across Houston tonight. We do have that cold front that is dropping out through the Midwest, and it has the tail end of that front is dragging across central and southern Texas right now. We saw a lot of storms earlier in the day across the East Texas, Southeast Texas, so Beaumont, Houston, and Galveston saw those showers and storms. There's still a few scattered showers and some isolated thunderstorms out there tonight as that front is going to be working its way towards your area. You are still south of the front, so it's still a little bit muggy, a little bit of humidity out there, but you can see those clouds and the camera there, those overcast skies out there across the city of Houston tonight. So we're going to see those showers clear out later tonight. A nice day is on tap for your Saturday with cooler temperatures and lower humidity. So enjoy that for your weekend out there across Southeast Texas. Let's move on with the rest of the forecast as we talk about a wintry storm and severe weather and heat across the east a little bit. So let's jump at it. All right, everybody. So let's talk about your weekend weather forecast as well as next week across America. So here we go with our first map, and we're looking at that storm that's moving across the center of the country. You see all of this right here. This is that major fall storm with a lot of wintry characteristics. We also see a lot of springtime characteristics as well. We have showers and some severe thunderstorms moving across the central and southern plains this weekend. We're going to see those thunderstorms up into the Ohio Valley and through parts of the Great Lakes. And we're going to see the rain showers moving into the interior of the Northeast. Before that happens, a lot of warmth across the eastern seaboard along the 95 corridor. A lot of unseasonable warmth for this time of the year, and it's going to feel a little bit like summer out there across parts of New England and the Northeast. So the big cities, Boston down to DC, we're going to see quite warm out there on Saturday, out ahead of that advancing storm system, that severe weather, and then a significant cool down on the backside of that cold front once that front passes through the Northeast. But we're seeing some wintry weather that's going to take place across the upper Midwest from northern Wisconsin, Minnesota, all the way down to Colorado and Wyoming. We're going to be seeing those some snow. We saw a lot of snow across the Dakota. Some areas picked up as much as a foot of snow. So we saw a lot of snow across the plains today and over the last couple of days. So snow out here across the Dakotas and to Wyoming and Montana, where we saw up to a foot in some locations there. I saw several videos on TikTok of a lot of the snow across the high plains. And we're going to see an area of freezing mixed precipitation as well. We'll have some freezing rain in there and some rain and snow mix. And we're going to see that across the Twin Cities tomorrow and some light snow. I don't think we're going to see any accumulation here in the cities, but I think to the northwest, the northwestern suburbs and the northwestern part of the state, we're going to see a little bit of accumulation, or at least on the grass. It's not going to accumulate, but you can see up to a half inch or inch or so accumulate on some of the grassy or in the more rural areas across Minnesota tomorrow. But I don't think we'll see much here in the Twin Cities. But if you take out this area right here across the eastern plains, we could see some freezing rain through parts of North Texas, so Amarillo and Lubbock, all the way to parts of western Kansas there, the Oklahoma Panhandle. We could see some freezing rain tomorrow as well. So a very dynamic storm moving from west to east across the country. It's going to be mostly dry across the south and the southeast and somewhat warm as well. So beautiful weather out ahead of this advancing storm system. So before we start to see a line of showers and thunderstorms move across the southeast with the cold front, and we're going to see that occur late in the weekend and early next week as that front sweeps to the east. And on our next map, we're going to talk about the northeast right here, and we have that near record warmth that we're going to see for your Saturday. So a beautiful day from Boston down to Virginia Beach and the Washington DC area with near summer-like temperatures. Highs tomorrow will be in the 80s across the mid-Atlantic into the northeast. But if you look at the interior portion there, if you look at the St. Lawrence Valley here, along in Canada and the Ohio Valley, and you can look at this region where our cold front is. We're going to see that front just moving into the northeast tomorrow, but on the backside is where we're going to see blustery conditions, and it's going to be much colder as well. So that is eventually going to move toward the big city. So enjoy the warmth while you can on this Saturday, because when we get to Sunday, we're going to see a significant cool down. So we're going to see brisk northwest winds, much cooler as we move into early next week. So late Sunday through Monday and into Tuesday, that cold front will move off over into the Atlantic. There is the southern end of the front spreading back across the southeast, going to spread showers and thunderstorms down across those areas. But as the front moves across offshore, but here behind it, those winds are going to switch to the northwest, bring in much drier and much colder air. It's going to be quite chilly out there. We're going to see the potential for some frost and freeze advisories to be posted early on Monday and into Tuesday on your Halloween. So Halloween night, the kiddos are going to have to buckle up, or not buckle up, or bundle up for their trick-or-treat or any Halloween parties, okay, folks? And then we're going to see that wet weather. So that rain is going to spread on Sunday. We're going to see that rain move all the way across the northeast. So from Boston down to New York City and Philadelphia, we're going to see this area of low pressure moving across towards the northeast and New England there. And it's going to bring with it some showers. And we're going to see some thunderstorms right along this line right here across parts of southwestern Pennsylvania, Maryland through West Virginia, Kentucky, in the southern Ohio Valley. We're going to see the potential for some thunderstorms, so showers and thunderstorms, but general rain to the east here and over toward the north with that cooler air. So we're going to see it cooler and rainy, showery to the north and northeast of the area of low pressure, the center of circulation. We're going to see a lot cooler air in play and a lot rainier, or some rainy weather, showery conditions. Going to be kind of breezy as well. We're going to start to see those winds slide on in behind that area of low pressure. So we have a snow potential there across the Ohio Valley and across the Great Lakes and into the interior portions of the Northeast. For Tuesday into Wednesday, we could see our first round potential for snow across New England and the Great Lake regions as we talk about places like Detroit, Buffalo, Syracuse. We can see our first shot at some snow across the Northeast as we head through the mid part of next week with that cold weather. But here we are as we talk about that significant rainfall down across the South, the Mid-South. So eastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, southwestern Ohio. We're going to see heavy rain with some thunderstorms and even some severe weather possible across those regions, that region, as that cold front drops down and pushes south and east. But it's going to be colliding with this very warm air across the southeast and along the Gulf Coast. So the Carolinas down to Florida, over to Louisiana and Texas, we're going to see very warm conditions, a little bit increase in humidity as well, as we still have tropical moisture from Norma and Otis that we still have in the mix here. So we have enhancement in the rainfall because of the inclusion of that tropical weather, that tropical moisture, and the dynamics of this frontal boundary and an area of low pressure, and our trough dropping down across the central, from the northern to the central plains. That colder air clashing with that warmer air down to the south is going to make for big time thunderstorms along that cold front as that thing slides south and to the east. So a bumpy ride is in store as we head through Sunday, Saturday, tomorrow, and Saturday night across the Mid-South and parts of the Midwest. So be ready for that if you're in the Midwest. So if you're in places like St. Louis and Kansas City, in parts of Lincoln, Illinois, or if you're in South Central Illinois, Southern Louisville, Lewiston, or Southern or Ellisworth in Indiana, if you're in those areas, look out for those showers and thunderstorms. So we have the potential for ice and freezing rain across the central plains as well. So northern Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and central Kansas, this is going to be for tomorrow and into Sunday morning. We can see the potential for freezing rain and some sleet across this region. I really am not a fan of freezing rain, as we have that mixed frozen precipitation moving across the central plains, because we have a very moist environment, and that much colder air is overrunning the top of that warm air. So we're seeing a little bit warmer air very close to the surface, a layer of warm air. So what we're seeing is that colder air at the surface, warmer air in the mid levels of the atmosphere, and a layer of colder air aloft. And that rainfall is falling through that area. We have snow falling from the upper levels, falling through that layer of warmer air. So that precipitation is thawing to rain and then refreezing again close to the surface. So we're going to see ice and in some cases freezing rain, because where that rain is going to refreeze again, it's going to be right when it makes contact with the surface. So the roadways are going to be the worst, the cement, anything like that. We're going to see freezing rain and a lot of slick situations. A slick walking path, slick porches. Your porches, if you have a porch that extends out over and it's not covered and it's not going to be blocked, then you're going to get some of that freezing rain. So be careful. A lot of injuries, a lot of people can go to the hospital from slips and falls. This is why I'm not a fan of freezing rain or any ice or anything like that. I prefer snow. Okay. We don't get to talk about Southern California as much. Now, one thing that happens this time of the year across the Southland is Santa Ana winds. Santa Ana winds are dry winds that blow offshore. High pressure sets up over Utah or Nevada. That area of high pressure, the air circulates in a clockwise rotation around that high, and on the southern end of the high is Southern California, and that pattern creates that offshore flow. So many times you can see very strong winds blowing through all of the high desert. So Palmdale, Lancaster, Palm Springs, Victorville, Barstow, those winds blow across the desert, blow through the canyons of the San Bernardino and the San Gabriel Mountains. Places like El Cajon, you can see those winds increase in speed as the air squeezes between two mountain peaks through the canyons and through the passes. The air gets squeezed, and as it gets squeezed, it accelerates and gets forced through by the air flowing from the high pressure up in the altitude of the mountains and the desert down to the lower air pressure over the ocean. So the air is rushing toward the ocean and the coast, and that air blowing through from out of the mountains accelerates, increases with that pressure gradient. So we're going to see those winds below the canyons and the passes across the Inland Empire, they call it, in Southern California. I grew up in LA, so I can tell you all about LA's weather. So the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Gabriel, Chino, Pomona, Montclair. If you're in those areas, you're going to be dealing with those winds as they come out of off of the mountains, out of the mountains. So 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, sometimes as high as 60 miles per hour. It can lead to fires, and that can lead to some property, structural damage, power outages, down trees, power lines, things like that. So it can be, and it's very, very dry air, very dry. The humidity and the dew point is it often can be in the single digits to teens. So very dry air, very prone to fires and things like that. So always be careful if you're camping, if you're going activities in the mountains or in the deserts or anything. Take care of your fires, put them out, make sure they're out, and be safe out there and be responsible, because Santa Ana winds are no joke. Okay, so what also comes with those Santa Anas is warmer weather. So that offshore flow creates what's called compressional heating as the air comes down off of the rim over the Rockies, the higher altitudes down toward the lower altitudes in Southern California and off the coast. That creates the air compressing as the air descends, so it gets warmer. So we're going to see a lot of compressional heating over the West Coast, from the desert Southwest up into Central and Northern California, back up towards Reno and Redding. So we're going to still see very warm, very dry conditions. And there is our snow up there in the Rockies, up through parts of Colorado and northern New Mexico, where we're seeing that snow this weekend. But on Sunday, a beautiful warm day across the west, with the exception of the Santa Ana winds down in Southern California, and the winds blowing through pretty much all of the southern mountains and deserts through the passes. So even if you're in Arizona, like Mount Lemmon in Tucson, you can see the winds blowing through the Tinca Verde area and Casa Grande. You can see those winds coming out of the mountain, the Cottonwood, and the Catalina mountain range out that way. So a lot of things to worry about with the weather this week. Now here is a look again at your Halloween forecast. I'm going to step off the camera so that you guys can take a look at the entire map here of the United States. So we have that storm that we're still going to be contending with through some parts of the eastern United States. So the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, down across parts of the South and the Southeastern, the Southern Plains down into Texas. So from Houston all the way up to Boston and New York City, we'll be dealing with showers and thunderstorms as that frontal boundary slowly makes its way across the eastern U.S. on Halloween Day. We're going to still see that warm across the southeast on the Atlantic side. So North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida will be dealing with nice warm weather. It's that calm before the storm, so we're going to see nice warm air advection out ahead of the advancing storm system coming out of the Midwest. If you're in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Upper Midwest, Minnesota, North, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, you're going to be dealing with very cold weather, and it's going to be quite windy as well. Clear but chilly in the Rockies, so Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, eastern Wyoming, eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. You're going to be seeing it kind of chilly. You got to have some snow on the ground in some locations as well. So that's going to make it feel a little bit colder as well. So cold in the Rockies, really cold up in the upper Midwest and the high plains. So that is a look at your Halloween weather forecast. I am meteorologist Mr. G. Thank you for watching me today, guys. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe to both of my channels on YouTube and TikTok. See you guys all on Sunday in our video for your holiday and the start of the next work week. Bye-bye.